Sorry about that. How are you all doing? How's things, folks? Welcome to the Leeds View for the instant match reaction of Sunderland 1, Leeds United 1, and all things considered. Probably a decent point on the road. And again, it's the second game in a row where Leeds United haven't lost away from home, and that's improving that away record, which is these points all count. And we've hit that 20-point mark before the new year, which is always a good indicator that you're heading in the right direction in a season. I hope you all had a lovely Christmas. Thanks for joining me today. Those who are over on bigup.com for the watch along, appreciate you all joining me for that as well. I hope it's all gone really well. It's been a good month for Leeds, December. It's been really, really good for us so far. And long may that continue into a positive 2026. Just to give you some detail on this stream, if you're watching this live, we will do the comments in the second half of the stream. If you're watching on demand, you won't see the comments. They will be clipped out, and same with the audio. You won't hear them. We'll give you a clean review for anyone who's watching later on. But we will go through the comments towards the second half of the video. We'll do the initial overview and thoughts on what is, again, as I say, 5 games unbeaten for Leeds United. Now, we didn't move up a spot in the league, which is unfortunate. There was an opportunity there today to potentially go 9 points clear of the bottom three, which would have been amazing. It would have been amazing. But even with the players that were missing for Sunderland, they're still a very good side. They're still a very well coached and very well managed side and very organised side. And that was very visible today, specifically from a defensive perspective. Although Leeds did manage to put them in situations where they panicked quite a lot and forced mistakes everywhere. But there was a strange performance by Leeds. I think we've seen this one before from Leeds, but enough in it to get a draw. I think we, tempo-wise, not necessarily performance-wise, but tempo-wise, started quite slow, grew into the game. I thought we were doing quite well. But when Leeds do let the handbrake off fully and go at teams, I personally think they're a much better side than when they're sitting back and moving the ball slowly. There wasn't a huge amount of movement off the ball in the first 20 minutes, but we were still handling everything that was thrown at us. We were doing quite well, feeling our way into the game, I think is how I described it over on the watch along. And unfortunate with the goal. And I think, again, all things considered, unfortunate to go in at half-time, at least not 1-1. Leeds did have chances in that first half, only for some very good defending from Sunderland at key points. There were some very strong battles out there as well. Jayden Bogle managed to survive today without a yellow card up against Alderete, who gave him a hell of a game, especially in that first half. Second half, got the grips from a little bit more, but managed to not get a yellow card. Ethan Ampadu, the same. It's important that they got through this game. They've got one more game to go to avoid a suspension. That's against Liverpool. They both done fantastically well to get to this situation without picking up that extra yellow card to get the suspension. But yeah, it's a 1-1 draw. It's probably a bit of a kind of a game for a lot of people watching it, but it was a very strong second half by Leeds United. They needed a reaction. They were unfortunately down a Joe Rodon shaped figure in the team, which is never good. And they did have to change that forward to back, which did leave gaps open, and they did try to capitalize that just after Joe Rodon had gone off. We'll go through that in a bit more detail in a minute. But I thought Yacobiol on that right-hand side did quite well, trying to fill that role that Joe Rodon does very well for Leeds coming out from the back. He's not as comfortable carrying the ball forward as Joe Rodon is, and it shows how good Joe Rodon is and how important he is to Leeds United. But the players reacted quite well. I thought Brendan Aronson had another steady game for Leeds United in attack and in defence. Works hard, did all the work. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, again, another goal for him, his 8th goal of the season, and his 7th in 6 games, and 6 games in a row. He's now the player with the most goal run of the modern generation of Leeds players. I think the lads in the 20s and 30s are slightly ahead of him with 7 and 8, but he's not far off it now at this stage. But he's looking like a fantastic acquisition for Leeds United. Very, very involved in the first half. Brendan Aronson unlucky not to score. Trey Hume very cleverly reading a chance from him in the first half, but a beautiful first-time pass from Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Anton Stach continues to, for me, start quietly in games and then just very maturely build into matches. And by the end of the game, he's probably one of the better players on the park. I thought he was excellent there today. Thought out Tanaka when he came in, added a much needed shot of energy into that Leeds United midfield. Ampadu, as I said, very, very good. Both fullbacks. Bogle going forward, possibly could have scored Bogle. I think he's a bit unlucky, but going forward, never question him. Defensively, had a tough day against Alderete. He's a good player, Alderete, and he ran at him and tried to expose him, but he dealt with him and he didn't get involved in the goal. Well, he did score already, but it wasn't from a Jayden Bogle situation. But yeah, it was a great goal by him as well. So you couldn't look at this performance and say, well, Leeds made a mistake anywhere necessarily. Joe Rodon's probably injured and probably doesn't get out quick enough for their goal. Keeps them on side, but it's a wonderful finish by Alderete and a great pass from Granit Xhaka. But Leeds did their own stuff and what could possibly be one of the goals of the season for Leeds United. Paul Brooker's just sent me the Opta map for this goal, and I'll get it up on screen for those who are watching live. But it was beautiful. Beautiful goal from back to front. I'd said on the watch along, their pressing was really high. That means there's gaps somewhere. And Leeds did a fantastic job to find that gap. Thanks to Paul Brooker for sending this over to me. I'll stick it up on the screen now. You can have a quick look at it. There you go. There you go. So it starts off on the right-hand side with Jakob Bial into Ampadu, into Tanaka, back to Bogle, back to Bial, over to Perry, over to Pascal Stroke, and then a wonderful ball out to Noah Okafor and a flick between his legs to Anton Strack, who just tells Ethan Ampadu to get out of the way and whips a beautiful ball across the park for Brendan Aronson, who tears into the penalty area, crosses it low across the box, and tapped in by Dominic Calvert-Lewin. So yeah, fantastic goal by Leeds United. Probably one of the best goals of the season from back to front. Brilliant all-round work. So Leeds come away with a point, puts us in good stead. 20 points for the season. Still sitting in 16, but 7-point gap over that bottom three, which is hugely important. It's 3 results minimum in that situation. So Leeds would have to lose 2 and draw 1. West Ham have to win 2 and draw 1 and a run for West Ham that has not been good. Looking at West Ham's results right now, and they haven't won a game since the 8th of November. Since then, they've drawn 3 and lost 4. So Leeds are doing okay, just picking up those points and tipping along. The goal difference is in a positive enough position as well, -7. We could have gone a good above Bournemouth, but they have their own problems now. Bournemouth are on a very poor run of form. 2 losses and 3 draws in their last 5, and the potential of losing Semenyo in January as well early on could definitely drag them into the mix. And the more sides Leeds can get involved in that scrap, the better it is for Leeds United. But a good point on the road. I think I would have said before the game, I'll happily take a point. I think 20 minutes into the second half, I probably would have said Leeds can win this. We can win this game. But the more I went on, you could just see Leeds getting a little bit more tired. The changes didn't really have the impact that you wanted them to make. I think you could have brought Willie Gnonto on probably a little bit earlier. I think you could have, when you brought Lucas Mecha on, you could have gone to a 3-5-2 at that point again and gone with the 2 lads up front, got the extra defender in there. But all in all, I think coming away from the Stadium Light with a point at this point of the season of a team that's in 7th place. And you look at who Leeds have played over December: Chelsea, Liverpool, Man City, Sunderland, Crystal Palace, all in the top 9. And we only lost to Manchester City and just about lost to Manchester City. So it's very positive. Leeds now need to look at the likes of the Burnleys, the Forests, the West Hams, the Wolverhampton Wanderers, the Bournemouths, and start picking up points there. Spurs are very much in the mix there as well with 22 points. So yeah, all very good. First half wise, points good and bad. I think the positives for me were that we very much in the game. We built into it. I thought we kept the ball quite well when we had to. The negatives for me were just the tempo was a little bit too slow for me to start the game. I don't like slow tempo, but we did get better. Negatives for me, just that one negative, just didn't get out quick enough from the long throw when it was cleared. Ethan Ampadu kind of half clears it and play through then, and they get in behind. And it's a wonderful finish by Alderete. It's a beautiful ball with Granit Xhaka, but there is a gap there and we didn't get out properly. So that's disappointing. But overall, I thought Leeds grew into it. After we conceded a goal, you're looking for that reaction, and Leeds reacted really, really well. The tempo increased a lot. The question for me will always be, why can't we always start with that tempo? Because when we do, we're so good. Now, I know you can't run around 90 miles an hour for 90 minutes. But that's what you've got subs for, you know? And you don't always have to do it. But there's just times where Leeds are a bit stationary. And that's the only criticism I have. But, I mean, even saying that, it wasn't like Sunderland at that point were putting us under any real pressure. First half, it took 9 minutes, to get the first shot on target, and it's by Leeds. The Leeds still had chances. Like Sunderland scored a goal in the 27th minute, and before that, Leeds had a counter-attack where Noah Okafor had a shot that was deflected over. Leeds had a really nice move, again, with Bial, Stroke and Aronson. Then in half an hour mark, Leeds had another good chance as well. Jakob Bial header. Jakob Bial had 2 headers today, and both of them went pretty straight at the goalkeeper, but they dealt with Leeds' height and set-piece attacking quite well today. But again, well organised, knew what they were doing and looked after that. But 38-minute Leeds, another chance again. This time it was stack ball forward, DCL first time flick to Brendan Aronson. I thought this was a goal. Aronson checks in on his left foot because the defender's probably going to block him if he goes on the right. So he checks in on the left foot, shoots, beats the keeper. But Trey Hume reads it really, really well, leaves Dominic Calvert-Lewin, heads back to the goal line. It's cleared off the line. Then there was another half chance for Leeds just before the half time mark as well. It was a really good ball from Brendan Aronson, just whipped across the goal line, nearly bent across it, and Noah Okafor was stretching at the back post, and you want someone running in on that to tap it in, but Calvert-Lewin was dragged more towards the front post. So there were chances for Leeds, and you look, they had obviously 2 very strong chances at the end. Broby runs through 1-on-1 with Lucas Perry, and a poor shot, but Gabby Goodmunson does very well to track it, and then Adingra hits the crossbar with a header. Sorry, Broby hits the crossbar with a header after Adingra cross. So they had chances as well, but you could argue Leeds could have gone in and won all at half time. There wasn't a huge amount in it. even with that goal. But the question would be, could he have taken Joe Rodon off a little bit earlier? Joe Rodon looked like he was struggling after 2 rolls of his ankles in 2 different directions as well. Both of them were nasty looking. But he doesn't. And that maybe is why Joe Rodon is slow getting out. But I think the change as well of bringing Tanaka and not bringing on Sebastian Bornau made a lot of sense, because it's one change. Joe Blackburn said this to me at half time as well. It just means if Leeds need to go to 3 at the back, Ampadu can just drop in and you've got a midfielder already in there. You're not sacrificing a substitution to do that. So it gives you options. But you want to see Leeds start the second half. And that's been my biggest criticism of Leeds this season. It's been slow starts to the second half. And those who are watching, you can see the momentum graph down below. First 30 minutes, the second half was all Leeds United. All Leeds United. We absolutely battered them and caused huge amounts of problems in their penalty area. The panic from them was massive. But we get to go very early on. DCL, as I say, 7 goals in his last 6 games is his best run of his career, and 8 goals for the season. A lovely finish as well. Exactly where you want. And it continues that run of form of Dominic Calvert-Lewin, where all of his goals have come in that straight line between the penalty spot and the goal line. But there was lots of chances for Leeds. There was a chance in the 49th minute. Okafor cross was flicked on by Brendan Aronson at the front post, and Jayden Bogle went running onto it at the back post, and he just tries to chest the pass the keeper, but his angle of his run is more dictates the direction of the ball, and it goes wide past the post. A good chance for Leeds. Then again, they had a chance after that as well. Some of them were trying to play out from the back, and Leeds just weren't letting them settle on the ball in the penalty area. Second balls in and around the penalty area for me were massive for Leeds today. And Aronson did really well at nicking them, and he had a little poke as well. And then Tanaka had a shot that went over the crossbar. And then going to the last 50 minutes, changes were made, 71 Okafor for Mecha. And that's where I wanted to see Mecha go up front, and Leeds go to a back 3, drop Ampadu in and go to the 3-5-2, and then go more direct and let DCL and Mecha play off each other. But he doesn't. He keeps Mecha out on the left-hand side. I thought we lost a bit of momentum there at that point, but we were still pressing mistakes being made by Sunderland. We weren't letting them settle on the ball. And Ampadu does really well at one point to win a ball back, gets a break for Leeds, and he makes a mistake on the cross. Then a few minutes later, there's another break from Leeds to win a ball back, and it's squared to Ampadu this time. And he fancied a shot today, and he smashes one with straight at the goalkeeper. But I think at 78 minutes, I've written down Leeds should change to a 3-5-2 at this point and try and get more on top of them. But then change were made. DCL comes off. Nanto comes on the left. And then, to be honest, Sunderland just kind of got a grip of that last. You can see it again, the momentum graph, got a grip of that last 15 minutes of the game. And at that point, you're just looking at Leeds to hang on. We've conceded a huge amount of goals late in the game, and you want to see Leeds just hang on and make sure that they can get a point on the road. And they did. They defended really, really well. Lucas Perry caught balls when he needed to catch them and took pressure off. Jakob Biel and Pascal Strout both won their headers. There wasn't a huge amount of drama even in the last 5 or 10 minutes, which Leeds have been guilty of this season at times. So all in all, probably nothing massively exciting, but a really good reaction from Leeds United after going that goal behind, which they've done a couple of times this season. They've shown that when they do go a goal behind, they don't drop their heads, they don't give up. And that shows an awful lot of character in this side right now. And again, as I say, you're now 5 games unbeaten for Leeds United with 2 wins and 3 draws. Those draws might not seem brilliant right now, but those points will add up when you do get a win. But they've got Liverpool away next. That won't be easy. And it's a different Liverpool they're coming up against this time. And then Manchester United at home. And I fancy us in that one at Ellen Road, especially if we're going the way we're going right now. But I'll get into the comments and I'll check out your feelings on the game. Give me your man of the match as well, what you thought, who your man of the match was. I thought Brendan Aronson again was very good for Leeds. Dominic Calvert-Lewin held the ball up, won his headers. I was getting dragged all over the place today, but I thought he did really, really well. The back line were relatively solid outside of the goal. But again, Anton Stock, I thought, grew into that game as well and was really, really good. But we'll get into your comments. We'll start with the most recent ones. That's fine. He's getting better, Perry, for me. 35 to 40 minutes, second half, best. Yeah. Right, folks, I think we'll actually start to wrap it up there. Really appreciate everyone joining me today, watching the live stream. If anyone's watching on demand, the comment section won't be in that, and same with the audio. They're just cleaner reviews then for everybody watching on demand. But yeah, look, it is what it is. Leeds United go 5 games unbeaten, 2 wins, 3 draws. December's been a fantastic month for Leeds. As has been said, 9 points. Leeds now 7 points clear of the bottom 3, and they've given themselves a little bit of a buffer in what has been probably one of the more difficult spells this season. What we need to then do is go against the sides that are in the lower half of the table and start picking up 3 points against them. But we are clocking up the draws and wins. We probably need 9 wins, 9 or 10 draws. We're on 5 wins and 5 draws. So we're heading the right direction. 20 points are we at quite the halfway stage? 30, 19 and 19 is what? 38? Not quite. 1 game away from the halfway point, but we're heading in the right direction, Leeds, where we need to be at this point. So yeah, all good. And the yellow cards don't count after this game, after the Liverpool game, I believe, Danny. So we've got to get past Liverpool and we should be okay. Cheers for all the work I put in. Guys, appreciate it. Appreciate watching over Christmas as well. I know we took a little bit of a break, but I really appreciate watching over Christmas. I hope you've had a fantastic Christmas as well. I hope you've had loads of time with your family. And if it's not been a great Christmas for you, I hope you're doing okay. It's not a great time of the year for everybody, but I hope you're all doing all right and everyone's okay. But we will continue on. We're back tomorrow morning with the news. There's a lot of stuff to get stuck into tomorrow. We're very close, a couple of days away now from the transfer window open. There's a ton of stuff starting to float around. We'll cover it off in a lot more detail tomorrow on the news. Outside of that, have a wonderful rest of your day and your weekend. Leeds continue to march on. Long may this continue. Enjoy your day. Enjoy your weekend. I'll talk to you soon. See you later.